In the previous video, we had seen about the LED efficiency, quantum efficiency and modulation of LEDs. In this video, we will see about the laser diode. So here, your laser diode is nothing but a device which is going to generate the light by a process called stimulated emission. So the acronym for laser stands for the light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So semiconducting lasers are going to be multi-layer semiconductor devices which is going to generate a coherent beam of monochromatic light by the laser action there. So here we are going to have a coherent beam which is going to have all the photons are going to be in phase. So the LEDs, where the LEDs are going to be chosen is when I am going to use multi-mode fibers, LEDs are going to be chosen, and when I am going to use a single mode fibers, where you are going to use your laser diodes are going to be used. So the mechanism of light emission. So your when I am going to consider an atomic system, your atomic system is going to be in thermal equilibrium with the surroundings there. So the emission of the light can be either by the absorption process and subsequently followed by the spontaneous emission of energy there, or it can be by another process where the atom in the upper energy level can be triggered or it can be stimulated in phase with the incoming photon. This process is going to be called as the stimulated emission there. So the three processes of light emission is absorption, spontaneous emission and stimulated emission. First we will see the absorption process. So when a photon, so we are going to have two energy levels. So this is going to have an energy level E1 and this is going to have an energy level E2. In your energy level E1, we are going to have the electrons to be present. When a photon of energy E2 minus E1 is going to be instant on the atom, this atom may be excited to a higher energy state E2 through the absorption of this photon there. So this process is called as stimulated absorption. So here next is spontaneous emission. So spontaneous emission is when the atom is going to be in the higher energy state and it is going to make a transition to the lower energy state in a random manner, then this process is going to be called as your spontaneous emission there. So when it is going to have a spontaneous emission, the emission is going to be of an isotropic nature and it is going to be of random phase. It is going to have a random phase there. And the output is going to follow a Gaussian output. Narrowband Gaussian output is going to be the output structure there. Next is stimulated emission. So stimulated emission is when a photon of energy h mu is going to be equivalent to the difference between the two states is going to interact with the atom that is going to be present in the higher energy level, causing it to return to the lower energy level with the creation of a second photon. Then it is going to be called as stimulated emission. So this emitted photon is going to be in phase with the incident photon. So this is called as your stimulated emission. So here we can see that your absorption. So here you are going to have your energy level E1. This is your energy level E2. When a photon of energy h mu is going to be instant on this energy level E1, the electron present in energy level E1 will move to your energy level E2. So absorption of the photon takes place and rises to a higher energy level. Spontaneous emission is this energy level is not going to be in a stable state. The electron present in this energy level will stay there for some amount of time and will come back to the lower energy level. So when it comes back to the lower energy level, it will emit a light photon which is going to be of a random nature there. So spontaneous means it is going to have a random photon to be generated or emitted. That is called spontaneous emission. After some time, the electron will automatically come to the lower energy state. And stimulated emission is when the electron that is going to be present in the higher energy level is going to be incident by a photon of energy h mu. The electron will come to the lower energy state, and when it comes to the lower energy state, it will emit a photon of energy h mu which is equivalent to the energy of the incident light. So in this case, both the energy of the incident light and the incident photon and the emitted photon is going to have the same energy and it is going to be in same phase there. So we say that the frequency of the absorbed or the emitted radiation F is going to be related to the difference in energy between the higher energy state and the lower energy state. So it can be given as E is equal to E2 minus E1, that is equal to H mu, or H is going to be the Planck's constant, which is going to be given as 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 joules second. So the random nature of your spontaneous emission process where light is going to be emitted, that is the transitions from large number of atoms are going to happen and it is going to have an incoherent radiation there, because the radiation pattern is going to be random in nature there. So here in this case that process is going to be used in your LEDs. But the light that is going to be generated from the stimulated photon is going to be in phase and has same polarization, that is called as your coherent radiation. So here in your stimulated emission, the incident and the stimulated photons will have the identical energy. So that means it will have an identical wavelength and that is going to have a narrow line width. Next it will have an identical direction, so that means that narrow beam width is possible. Next is identical phase. So identical phase means it is going to have a coherence radiation there and it is going to have an identical polarization there. So the population inversion. So the population inversion is nothing but it is going to be created by introducing a metastable state between the two energy levels. So where in this metastable state we can have the electrons to be piled up to achieve a situation where we can have more number of electrons to be present in this level 2 compared to your level 1. So here the process how we are going to attain this population inversion is by a process called pumping. So here in this case when I am going to go for pumping, we are going to have the non-thermal equilibrium to be available there. So here in this case it is not possible for us to achieve the population inversion with a two-state system. So in that case we go for a three-state system by introducing a middle state that is called as the metastable state. So if the radiation flux is going to be made very large, then the probability of the stimulated emission and the absorption can be made far, which is going to exceed the rate of the spontaneous emission. So here in a two-state system we can see that the number of atoms which is going to be present in the lower energy band and the higher energy band is going to be same. That means N1 is equal to N2 in the case of a two-state system. But when I want to create the population inversion, I should go for a three-state system where the system is going to be pumped with the radiation of energy H mu, when the atoms which are going to be in the state 3 will then automatically move to your state 2 non-radiatively there. So the electrons from E2 will now jump to E1 to give out the radiations there. So here in this case we are going to have a thermal equilibrium which is going to be given by the Boltzmann's equation. Shows that your N1 is going to be greater than N2 is going to be greater than N3. The number of atoms in the lower energy state is going to be more compared to the number of atoms in the second middle state and then followed by the higher state there. So the population numbers of your higher energy levels are going to be smaller than the population number of lower ones, then we call it as normal population. Suppose if the normal population of the photon impinging on the material will be absorbed and then raise the atom to a higher energy level there. So we can see that this is your normal. So we are going to have three energy levels E1, E2 and E3, where your normal population, your E1, the lower state is going to have the number of atoms to be more compared to the other two states there. So that means that if the number of atoms in the lower energy level is going to be more, we call that as a normal population there. But in population inversion, what happens is the number of electrons which is going to be present in either one of these N2 or N3 is going to be more, then we call it as your population inversion. So we say that at least one of the higher energy levels should have more atoms than the lower energy level there. So here in this case there are more atoms in N3 in a higher energy level than the number of atoms which is available in your lower energy level N2. So here the process of raising the number of excited atoms. So if I want to increase the number of excited atoms, then in that case it is going to be called as pumping process. Thank you.